Hello and welcome back everyone to another Rise of Kingdoms video. This is Dragothien here. Today we're going to be talking about Tomyris and how she has possibly, in my opinion, actually gotten better since the latest commanders have come out, especially your XYs, anything that's gotten a rage requirement less than 1,000. Seen a few of those come out. We've already had a couple like Khan, things like that. I wanted to talk about Tomyris because she's pretty good, right? Like everybody kind of consensusly thinks that she's pretty good and that she can actually help win battles, right? But I want to talk about why she's, in my opinion, gotten better. And the reason being, biggest reason that I'm thinking of that she's gotten better is because of those types of commanders. You've got those commanders like XY and anything that has a reduced rage requirement or a reduced skill, like a skill that reduces the rage requirement of your primary active skills from firing off. Those are the commanders that are going to really be able to benefit from Tomyris, even if you have her paired with another skill damage, skill talent tree type commander or a support talent tree type of commander. I personally like to pair Tomyris with, if I'm going to go Archer, I'm going to go with Edward. Even though he's not the best for open field, he does give you the extended duration of the active skill going off so that your other commanders will be able to take advantage of the debuff that Tomyris provides on your target for skill damage taken increased. So with that being said, I either go with Edward or I actually have started to, and I've seen actually casting on the live channel some of these ARC matches of the top tier players. I loved seeing it. I saw Alex and Tomyris, which is a classic pair that I've been using for quite some time. Charles Tomyris is another option for you. Reason being, super tanky. Both of them provide a shield. They don't really have a whole lot of rage generation. So again, it's the same kind of thought process behind an Edward primary to a Tomyris, but it brings infantry to the mix with Tomyris. And when you use Tomyris with infantry, you're really not losing that much on the open field. The only thing that you lose is a 30% attack debuff. Everything else applies. The 30% defense reduction applies. Obviously, the skill damage that she does on her primary skill applies. The poisoning factor that's generating the debuff and generating additional damage from Tomyris all applies. The fourth skill, of course, the counterattack one here, normal attacks of troops. It doesn't say archers, it just says troops. It's not requiring archers to be on the field. Same thing with the expertise, troops led by this commander. It's not archers. So everything really kind of applies. The only thing you're losing is a 30% attack bonus, which is nice to have, but it's not, game breaking to not have that. And again, if you're pairing it up with a Charles or an Alex or heck, even a Richard, you've got the museum buffs now, guys, where they're buffing these commanders from earlier in the game and giving them 20-30% attack bonuses. So you're basically nullifying the downside of using Tomyris in the first place with a non-archer troop type. You can certainly do this with Cav as well, but all the Cav have a 1,000 or less rage requirement. I don't think there's a longer casting Cav commander that we've got available to us right now. So it's kind of difficult to pair her up with the Cav, but it's still doable. You might just want to have to manage her a little bit more on the battlefield as far as when she starts attacking versus the rest of your troops. Now, with that being said, why is Tomyris so much better now? Well, if you look at other commanders, right? So we have commanders like Genghis, where his primary rage requirement is 950. He also has a rage requirement reduction of 100, which when you have Genghis as a secondary, that still does apply to any 1,000 rage requirement commander on the field. He is so underrated and underutilized as a secondary commander. Everybody always talks about how quickly people target Genghis as a primary, and that's 100% true. 100% true. But put him as a secondary, he's hidden, and just that 100 rage requirement reduction is a actual damage buff whenever you're using Tomyris as a part of your 5 army or 7 army or 6 army in KBK March setup. So putting Khan behind Saladin, putting Khan behind XY. Oh my god, that's just firing off skills like they're going out of style. Behind Chandra, behind the new commanders like Bertrand or Nevsky. This is a good setup, and this helps make sure that whenever you're swarming a target, that your skills are going off before Tomyris fires off her primary skill, which resets the debuff that she provides. So having her as a secondary is a must, and putting her behind a commander that doesn't necessarily generate as much rage as all your other marches. You can be full cav and go Alex and Tomyris, be decently speedy because Alex is decently speedy. And again, just make sure that you are utilizing that in that fashion, and you'll make sure that all 4 of your other marches, or all 5 or 6 or whatever, are causing the maximum damage amount as possible because of the way the game is set up. So, you know, we just talked about Khan, right? We've also got XY. XY has an 900 rage requirement, and also has other things that help reduce the rage requirement on his 4th skill. I had to kind of peek around and see which one it was. 4th skill, rage requirement reduction of 50, bringing it to 850, which again is going to fire before Tomyris fires her primary skill off, eliminating the debuff. So this is what you want to do. You want to make sure you're pairing your other commanders to utilize Tomyris if it's just you. Now, this is for small skirmish stuff, right? If we're talking about Ark of Osiris, if we're talking about just major battles in general, you're going to be providing those bonuses because people are going to be hitting before you, after you. They're going to get some form of a bonus, but you personally can control your damage by making sure that you're assembling your other 4 marches with Tomyris in mind as a debuff / extra damage march. And to me, again, Alex Tomyris, it's a match made in heaven. It's got tankiness, it's got speed, it's got damage with the extra attack and defense bonuses that the 4th skill provides. It's got extra damage with the 1700 damage factor that he provides on his 2nd skill. And yeah, oh, by the way, the rage requirements are perfect. He's got a shield. He debuffs, he buffs. I mean, it's just everything. It's a perfect match made in heaven, in my opinion. I know it's unique. I know it's not the norm, but consider using Alex with Tomyris as one of your marches to not only give you all the things that I just talked about, but also to give you the ability to bring Alex on the field without having to necessarily pair him with Harold or with Charles or with Guan, right? That will leave you able to, if you've got the other commanders maxed, to go Guan Leo and to go Pakal Harold if you want to go more infantry heavy. So putting Alex with Tomyris will still keep you in that infantry fold, right? But also allow you to bring some of the best infantry open field pairs in the game without having to mix and match and get confused on which way you want to go. Guan Leo, of course, a standard on the field. You've also got Pakal Harold, another standard on the field. I personally like Alex Harold for the hit and run type of stuff. Quick hit damage, the instant proc damage that both of those commanders provide. We've got a video on the channel specifically outlining that. But Pakal Harold does fantastic, and if he's swarmed, you're absolutely getting positive trades and giving severely wounded out the wazoo. And then again, with Tomyris, whenever you're moving with your massive group of marches, 5 to 7, right, in KVK, this will give you a huge benefit. Alex and Tomyris, to me, is one of the best pairs. If you want to do a little more damage, but not necessarily as much utility, you can fire Charles with this. So Charles Tomyris, because of his 30% damage increase from his shield, will apply on Tomyris's poison arrow nuke that she fires from her primary skill, on top of the bonuses that the poison stuff does in the first place. So I wanted to put this out there. I wanted to make sure you guys were aware that, you know, this is a 2nd gen commander. It's a 140-day commander. She is by no means irrelevant. In fact, to me, she has become more relevant because of all the latest commanders that have come out that have reduced rage requirements. And not only that, but have skills that reduce rage requirements so that you can bring a 1000 rage requirement commander onto the field and pair them with a rage requirement reducing skill commander and effectively make that one make sure that it's going to fire off before Tomyris uses her active skill. I mean, it's a no-brainer. That way you get both skills from both commanders firing off at the same time before Tomyris fires hers off, which maximizes your damage and allows you to burst these targets down. Gotta have this, guys. In my opinion, Tomyris is one of those ones where you should be using the daily chest If you haven't used her, if you haven't maxed her already, make sure you're using the daily chest to do the increasing her skill, because you don't want to have to use, especially with the latest commanders out, like, you know, all your nice archer commanders on MGE. This is an MGE commander, so you don't want to necessarily take up an MGE spot for Tomyris. You want to have those for Nebu. You want to have those for, you know, all your latest and greatest archer commanders. Use the either legendary, universal legendary sculptures, or even better, just use the daily chest. Get your Tomyris sculptures. Get her to at least 5 something something 5. Ideally, you want to max her out because, again, her expertise works with all troop types, but 5 something something 5 is perfectly fine. I do like having the third skill maxed out, not just because of the attack bonus that you don't really get if you don't use archers, but the 30% defense reduction it fires. It fires quite a bit. I see it on battle reports all the time, and it's for 3 seconds. It's not a joke. So you have 30% damage reduction for 3 seconds. That's the primary skill for XY. I mean, you look at XY, right? He has a defense reduction of 30% for 3 seconds. I mean, it's the same exact thing. Tomyris already has it, and she can be firing it at any point during the battle because it's a 10% proc. So, I mean, just so many good things that Tomyris brings to the table. You got to have her. In my opinion, as part of a swarming skill damage setup, you got to have Tomyris. She's something that she brings so much to the table. And again, when you pair her with Alex, it does so many extra side benefits that on paper, you're like, what's going on here? But in practice, it allows you to really flesh out all of your other marches to not necessarily have to incorporate Alexander. And when I say Alexander, the original Alexander, Alexander the Great, into your infantry marches. You don't have to do that. You can actually have Alex with Tomyris, and then that way you can use your Guan Leo, you can use your Pakal Herald, and be perfectly fine there. Hope this video has been helpful. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think, and I hope you're having a great day. Cheers, have a good one, and take care.